Did you know that Russia regrets selling its land to America? What seemed like a bargain at the time turned out to be one of the most profitable land deals in history. The United States didn't always have 50 states. In fact, the country once consisted of just 13 colonies along the Atlantic coast. But through a series of wars, negotiations, and massive land purchases, it transformed into the powerful nation it is today. Let me take you on a journey through the fascinating and sometimes shocking story of how America became the United States we know today. In the early 1600s, European settlers, mainly from Britain, arrived in North America. Over time, they established 13 colonies, including New York, Virginia, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania. These colonies were under British rule, but the growing desire for independence and freedom from British taxes ignited the American Revolution in 1775. After 8 long years of war, the colonies emerged victorious. On July 4, 1776, they declared their independence, forming the United States of America. However, the country was still relatively small, confined to the eastern part of the continent. But soon, the thirst for expansion would reshape the entire nation. In 1803, something historic happened. The United States, under President Thomas Jefferson, made one of the largest land deals in history. They purchased a massive territory from France, known as the Louisiana Territory, for $15 million, which is equivalent to roughly $300 million today. This purchase doubled the size of the United States, adding around 828,000 square miles of land. The new territory stretched from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains and included parts of 15 current U.S. states, such as Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska. But America's expansion didn't stop there. In 1836, Texas declared its independence from Mexico. For nearly a decade, it remained a separate republic. However, in 1845, Texas officially became part of the United States, a move that angered Mexico. The annexation of Texas led to the Mexican-American War, 1846-1848. After a series of battles, the U.S. emerged victorious. In 1848, through the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, Mexico was forced to sell a huge chunk of its land to the U.S. for $15 million. This deal, known as the Mexican Cession, included the modern-day states of California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and parts of New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming. This was a significant expansion that pushed the U.S. westward toward the Pacific Ocean. Meanwhile, in the Pacific Northwest, both the U.S. and Britain claimed the Oregon Territory. For years, the two nations shared control of the region. However, in 1846, they signed the Oregon Treaty, which drew the border at the 49th parallel. This gave the U.S. control over the lands that would become Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and parts of Montana and Wyoming. In 1854, the U.S. made one final major land purchase. They bought a small section of land from Mexico for $10 million known as the Gadsden Purchase. This area, located in what is now southern Arizona and southwestern New Mexico, was acquired to build a transcontinental railroad and secure the southern border. But the most surprising land deal of all came in 1867, when the U.S. bought Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million, roughly 2 cents per acre. At the time, many people ridiculed the purchase, calling it Seward's folly, believing Alaska was nothing but a frozen wasteland. Little did they know that this so-called useless land was sitting on vast reserves of gold, oil, and natural gas, making it one of the most profitable land acquisitions in history. Today, the wealth Alaska generates from its natural resources is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, leaving Russia to regret ever letting it go. Finally, in 1959, the Hawaiian Islands, which had been a kingdom before becoming a U.S. territory, officially became the 50th state, marking the final piece of America's expansion puzzle. Through war, diplomacy, and massive land deals, the U.S. grew from 13 colonies to a 50-state superpower covering over 3.8 million square miles. From the Atlantic to the Pacific, the expansion created one of the largest and most influential nations in the world. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Aster Polo TV for more intriguing and educational content.